Hi, this is Kimberly from Are You Awakening? And I am here today to talk to you about how to connect with other light workers on the light grid. So that's like a whole lot right there. So what's the light grid? Well, the light grid is basically another web of communications that's going on above and beyond your normal five senses. So, you can see, you can smell, you can taste, you can hear, you can touch, right? And then you go on to other senses like your intuition, like your gut feeling, where you get that sinking feeling or the rising feeling if you're excited. That's another sense. So as you start to realize that you're creating your reality, you are going to start communicating on those higher levels. And so basically the light grid is another whole internet that's going on. And while everybody's doing their things down here with their five senses, there's another bunch of communications going on up here on the next level. So you're going to be able to manage on both levels, meaning that you'll be able to go down. I'm using linear terms here just to make it easy, but you'll go down to a more physical, corporeal existence here where people communicate using their five senses, right? Their eyes, their mouths, obviously, their vocal cords, that sort of thing. That's very physical. But you'll also be able to communicate with people on another level above that. So you'll be reading their body language, maybe hearing what they're saying, but you'll also be able to get a lot of the meanings behind the words that are coming out, the way that they're being delivered, right? The emotion that it gives you when you hear it. So another level of communication. So this light grid, you've probably heard people talk about it, connecting with it with their Sintamani stone. Gotta love Sintamani. There's no Sintamani needed, but if you do have one and it makes you feel excited to use it to connect to the light grid, then absolutely do. And so why would you want to connect with other people on this grid? What does that do for you? Well, let's take a look at 4 levels of our existence right now. Okay, the first one being the physical. That's the one where you're using your 5 senses and all that. And the next one up above that would be the mental. That's what's going on in your head, the voices, all of that stuff. Then we go up another one, and that's the emotional level. So those are the things that you're feeling while you're doing these other 2 things. It's the feeling that's behind it. And then we go up one more level, and that's the creational level. So we're on the creational level here when we are really badassing being on the light grid. On the creational level, you are basically deciding what you want those other 3 levels to look like. And you do that by visualizing. All right, so you're always told to meditate. You're always told to, think of your best possible scenario and see it as vividly as possible. Perfect. Get good at that, because that is what gets you far in that creational level. Now, at that level, you are probably tuned in, right? So you're getting voices, you're getting images in your head, you're getting all of these things, and that is coming in from the light grid. Now, you have friends there. Let's just put it that way. You got friends there. You can call them your spirit guides. You can call them the archangels. You can call them whomever you want, right? But they're there on that level. And from a creational perspective, they want to help you reach your goals, all right? That's why any of us are here at all, is to expand, is to experience. And then we had our friend say, well, hell yeah, I want to play that role for you. That sounds like fun, right? So these are the people who have agreed with you and like gung-ho about you getting what you want. All right? So they're there to listen to what you want. And you send it out all the time with every thought that you have, with every intention that you have, every visualization. All of those are sending out those requests. So your friends are like, all right, here's a request. I don't think she's gonna like that, but law is law, and so I gotta give her what she's asking for, right? And sometimes you might not like it because you didn't even realize you were sending out the intention for something that you didn't want, but your friends are gonna give it to you, all right? Because they're here for service. They're here because they love you, and from a higher perspective, they're serving you. You can maybe look at the friends that you have here on your physical level and think of them that way a little bit, like, you know, I don't always understand that person's behavior, but I'm really glad that that person said this or that or this or that, because it really helped me learn something about myself. And so there's an example of how you and your friends are helping each other, not just on a physical level, but also on from the divine level, right? So they may not be aware of it, or you may not have been aware of it, but it still goes on all of the time. So there's communication that's above and beyond your five senses on that level that recognizes agreements or contracts or whatever you want to call them. Okay? So you can get to the point where you're like, I am totally not going to send out thoughts I don't want to experience. All right? And when you get to that point, then your friends get really excited because holy moly, I mean, they love you either way. They're going to give you what you ask for either way. But wouldn't it be way more fun to co-create something that's beneficial, something that's exciting and expansive for people without any struggle, without suffering, right? And so Earth right now is all dealing with that stuff. Like, we're tired of this. We don't want this anymore. We don't want this sad stuff anymore. Let's fix it and let's get together and have a party. That's basically what we all want to do. They really, really do like to have fun. And the fun is good fun. It's good, clean fun, if you must call it that, right? Meaning that nobody gets hurt in the making of this film, okay? Everybody's doing their thing. They're playing their roles, they're having fun, and they're helping each other reach their goals. So let's take a look at what you would be like if you took a walk in nature and you were connected to this light grid. So, you know, you might do whatever breathing exercises, whatever, and you get into that feeling of, all right, now I'm calmed down a little bit. My mind's slowing down. The thoughts aren't whizzing around. I can actually look at a tree and appreciate it. And then that's where we're going to start. Okay? Now, when you're getting into that point and you're walking and you're allowing things in with as little judgment as possible, I want you to imagine a big old beam of light coming out of the sky and encircling you. So if it scares you to think about tractor beams and that sort of thing drawing you up into UFOs, well, there's a fear for you to look at, but I want you to envision it as loving light, okay? So you've got some loving light down on you and it's walking along with you as you're walking along the trail. And this is going to help your energy, and this is symbolically because all of the light grid is basically using symbols to speak, at least right above the physical, very, very symbol heavy. So symbolically, your energy is going to be mixing with those that are connecting with you. And I just like to imagine it like that. So you're basically mixing together in that pillar of light. All right. Now, when you can get into there and you can not freak out, because sometimes it does feel a little bit like tingly and you might start to feel kind of high, and that there's a reason that they call high. It's similar to that feeling where you're a little bit lightheaded, but know that you're safe and know that that safety is guaranteed. And so as you're walking around and you're feeling a little bit, maybe a little comfortable, look around. Look around at your environment and just survey it gently, and things will pop out to you. They'll pop out. 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 And you're like, I wonder why that is there. And as soon as you say that about anything, pay attention to what it is. I wonder why that is there. These are called triggers. These are things that you have put there for yourself to discover when you're ready. All right? And remember, we're on the light grid here, and so expect them to be symbols. So for instance, a butterfly, right? Which is, metamorphosis. And so these breadcrumbs are for you to start discovering some of the symbols that are important to you, right? And up in the light grid where you're a lot more connected with nature, and you've left a little bit of the physicality, the mental thoughts, and the I've got to be doing something mentality out of it, you can now take a look and contemplate a symbol. So a specific bird perhaps, where you're like, I keep seeing that bird everywhere. All right, mark it in your head. Mark it in your head. And you'll keep just gathering symbols. If you go every day, it doesn't take long. It really doesn't. The hardest part is getting yourself into that, into the pillar. Okay? You'll start gathering things. You'll start recognizing symbols, and those will trickle down into your physical life. Like when you're back at home and you're like, where the hell did that come from? Huh? You're going to see it. All right? These are examples of ways that you're connecting with other people on the grid. Okay? They're helping you. That person that dropped the orange ball in the middle of the road actually physically had to drop it. But his part up here was well aware that it was serving you to do so. Okay? And so you will start noticing more symbols, and when it gets really good, you'll start to notice the people. And that's when it gets fun. All right? Now, you imagine yourself on your walk, and now look at the people that start showing up. Okay? And the one thing I'm going to tell you right off the bat, don't expect other people to see them. Okay? This is a big one to swallow for a lot of people when they first start out. Don't expect other people to see them. All right? This is your reality. You are creating your reality, and it doesn't necessarily mean that every single person that is around you is seeing exactly what you're seeing. If it's meant to serve them, then they will. But if not, the people that you see can be completely invisible to other people. As you're walking along, look at the people. Look at what they're wearing. They might be saying things to you, and if they do, I want you to listen. And there's usually kind of two teams on that one. So there's the person on your grid that knows that you know, in which case there is a little bit more gentle flow of words, not stuff that's so much gibberish that you're like, I don't know what that person just said to me. All right? If you get the gibberish and the I don't know what that person just said to me, like you couldn't understand a single word in the whole sentence, then you know that you were speaking with someone on the light grid. but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're speaking the same language yet, because chances are that gibberish had a whole lot of symbols associated with it that you're just not aware of yet. It doesn't mean you won't ever. And I've had the example of people coming up to me and I like 10 minutes of talking and I'm just nodding my head. I'm like, please let me just understand one word. Nothing. And little by little, I'll pick one word out, or I'll pick two words out when I start to see this person again, right? So it's a different world up there where you are seeing things that just don't necessarily fit in. And just like objects that you might find, like, I wonder what that's doing there, you'll totally say that about people. Like, that's the strangest thing, that man is dressed up like a clown and he's walking down the middle of the street and nobody else notices but me. All right, when you get that kind of thing going on, that's when it really gets fun, because now you're on this level where they know, to some extent, anyone on this level knows to some extent, if they're dealing with you in your present situation, that they're creating their reality. Okay, there's a certain frequency where you are aware of both. All right, so you've got your, oh my gosh, I'm divine, and holy crap, there's a whole lot of physical stuff there, and then there's that middle where you're like, oh yeah, all right, there's going to be a lot of oh yes. And it is a natural process that you do raise your frequency to get there. So don't expect to just jump right up. I mean, you would totally fritz your nervous system if you did. It's okay to go by increments, especially if you can do a walk or something outside where you're giving it a day. You'll be pretty surprised at how fast your perspective changes about what's around you. It's good stuff. So you'll start to find some triggers, you'll start to find some breadcrumbs that you left for yourself, and you'll also be connecting with other people that are already consciously aware on this grid, right? Now, get used to it, because if you're starting to interact with these people a lot, you're going to be learning the language, they're going to be learning how, at your level, what level you are of acceptance of this whole thing, and they're going to hopefully tailor their conversations with you so that you can get it. All right, but just like learning any new language, you will probably have a few there that you're like, I don't get it, but that's okay, because your consciousness is going to save that information, and when it's time for you to unload it, it's going to pop open and make total sense to you. All right, remember, there is no time, all of it's right now, so it's stored there and it's ready to go. It's fun stuff, huh? All right, well, I hope that you are connecting with other light workers on the grid. I hope you are meeting up with people on all of those levels. I want you to feel like you are not alone at all times. And I love you. Yes! So meet me up there if you ever want to. There are some people on my channel that are there, and you might see our comments and you can tell that, like, what the hell are they talking about? If you get that and you see a bunch of comments, then chances are I'm communicating with somebody on that light grid level. So have fun with it, and don't forget, always be yourself all the time. Love.